Hey everybody, it's me, Kai Man from Lifestrology, and today we are talking about the sign of Pisces. Now Pisces, it's their season, and that season is from February 19th through March 20th. Now when we talk about the Pisces, we talk about the dreamer. If anyone knows a Pisces, they know that they can be a bit of a dreamer. They are the dreamers of the bunch, but they also are ruled by the planet Neptune, which makes them the dreamers. Neptune is all about ruling dreams and visions as well as illusions. So for the Pisces, there is a lot going on with them from an intuitive standpoint, a psychic standpoint, and from a visionary standpoint as well. They are also, their exalted ruler is the planet of Venus. Now when we talk about Pisces being in that high vibrational and enlightened stage of life, they are in that exalted phase or being ruled by the planet Venus, which is all about unconditional love. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the symbol for the Pisces, which is of course the fish. And we all know that the Pisces is symbolized by those two fish who swim in opposite directions. The word Pisces in Latin means fish. And Pisces swimming in opposite direction represents the struggle of the Pisces being spiritual and human. If you know of any Pisces who's really getting into themselves, you'll notice that the one thing that they try to escape from is that whole spiritual side of them. And that's because they are trying to, at some point, they need to try and balance out that spiritual nature and that human nature so that they can walk between worlds, so to speak. Now, it has been said that one fish is swimming upstream towards transcendence, while the other brings that wisdom back downstream to us, the world. So when we talk about who the Pisces is, you guys know that I'm always speaking from a high vibrational state. When we talk about the high vibration or enlightened state or archetype of the Pisces, and then we'll also kind of talk about the low vibration or what we consider is that neurotic state of the Pisces as well. Now in their high vibrational state, they are the spiritualists. Notice I said spiritualists, not the religionists. So it's not about religion, it's all about spirit, things of the spirit, and them knowing how to flow between that spirit world as well as the physical world. They are also considered the dreamer. The low vibration or neurotic phase or archetype of the Pisces is the martyr or the escapist. Now, many of you, if you know a Pisces, you know that in their low vibrational state, that escapism part of them usually they tend to escape by using drugs or alcohol, something what they would consider to numb whatever it is that's going on. Most people never realize that, you know, alcohol and drugs usually make you think, kind of slows everything down so that you can't really think about those things as well. So I don't know if that's true for everybody, but I know for me it is. But anyway, the Pisces gifts are forgiveness, spirituality, adaptability, gentleness, and compassion. And for their struggles, it is escapism, just like we stated a little bit earlier, victimization, inferiority, unworthiness, and self-indulgence. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about these things as they come up within the journey. Now, when we talk about the Pisces personality, the Pisces is a fluid personality that reacts to any stimuli without discriminating. So they don't discriminate between what type of stimuli is coming towards them. They kind of go with the flow of that. Their inner currents can tug them one way at first and then another. They are an extremely generous sign, finding it hard to say no and prone to guilt more than any other sign. They blame themselves and wallow in anxiety created from all those who suffer and all those whom they believe that they've let down. So this is a sign that's really tough on themselves until they realize who they are and what it is that they really bring to the table. It can be a very difficult thing for them because, again, they feel everything. So whatever the stimuli that is around them, it's harder for them to differentiate who they are or the other person. And again, there is this raw vulnerability to the Pisces. Other water signs have their attack and defense mechanisms. Scorpios, we have our stinger. The Cancer sign, they have their pinchers. But think about a fish. A fish has no other means to defend themselves other than to wriggle away and kind of swim off really fast as they can, so that they're not, able to get caught. Having no defense, Pisces is usually elusive, evasive, indirect, insincere, or even paranoid. And you would be paranoid too if you had no way to really kind of defend yourself, or you'd kind of be elusive if you didn't want to make sure that a person knew everything about you, because they could possibly hurt you in one way, shape, or form. So when we look at the personality of the Pisces, we have to begin to understand why they are the way that they are, and that's because of who they are with respect to their sign. Now we go back to that whole fish analogy that we gave a little bit earlier. They are natural rescuers and will do anything for others. At the same time, they are great at getting others to do things for them in subtle ways as well. Pisces finds it hard to navigate. They find it actually difficult to navigate the harsh realities of the world, and can find it hard to distinguish between truth and reality. And again, we go back to the fact that they are ruled by the planet of Neptune. Now, we talk about sometimes, people, when we're looking at other people, we tend to blame them for what's going on in their lives. When we think about who they are with respect to their sign, their sun sign, with respect to where the planets line up, certain things that I won't say that they can't help, but at the same time, they really can't. Like they have to learn to utilize those things in such a way that they can overcome them. But these are traits that they have no control over. Those traits have come because of the simple fact of who or what planet that they are ruled by. So again, Pisces find it difficult to navigate the harsh realities of the world, and can find it hard to distinguish between the truth and reality. Now, when we think about a fish, and we see that, know that fish can travel in the ocean, and the ocean is deep, water is deep, so their natural abilities are something that's kind of, you think about the ocean and how dark it can be. Sometimes it's hard to determine or to distinguish between, the light and the darkness, because sometimes you're so far from what is considered to be light. But when we talk about the Pisces, just please try and understand who they are as people. And so that we don't always treat them with disrespect, or that we don't treat them unkindly, because these people are the transcendence, the group of transcenders of the world. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the video as well. Now, when we talk about the journey, and this is what we're going to talk about, that the journey of the Pisces is to blend heaven and earth. They have the ability to do so. When we think about them being able to be empathic and being able to feel the world, the pain of the world, feel the joy of the world, feel whatever is going on in the vicinity around them. They know they can feel people's energies. So if they can begin to and we'll talk about what they really need in order to bring that heaven to earth, that whole blend and that balance of things. Pisces, they represent the ultimate path of human awakening. When you get to the 12th sign, which is the sign of Pisces, it's all about human awakening, that whole transcending from physical to spiritual. Now and the sign of Aquarius that we just came out of, Aquarius is all about that whole physical thing, but they're able to help humanity in that particular way, and they're able to foresee, but they don't have that whole spiritual, being able to delve into that whole spiritual realm that the Pisces does, because the Pisces has all of the other signs ahead of them. They possess all of those energies as well. So everything from the Aries up until the sign of Aquarius, they possess all of those qualities within them. So now at this particular point of being Pisces, they're able to transcend all that we have already gone through and to take it into a more spiritual level. So Being the opposite sign of Virgo, the Virgin, they are the 12th sign of the zodiac and represents transcendence. And in their most enlightened state, they represent or present a God-like quality. Now, this is in their highest vibration. Pisces, I'm telling you, this is a state that you can reach. It is possible to reach this state. The ultimate gift of the Pisces is their spirituality. Pisces can easily channel spirit through their artistic expression and journeys to other realms, but only when they learn to master being grounded. Now, the reason why they have to master being grounded, because think of being ruled by the planet of Neptune and being able to dream and have visions and illusions. Those things sometimes can take you into a place where if you don't have your feet on the ground, that will kind of sweep you away. And I know some Pisces that have that total fear of being swept away in whatever current it is that they are going into. But that's because they had not learned to master the ability to be grounded. And with that whole grounding thing, and we'll do some videos to talk about what the Pisces needs in order to be grounded. But it's very important that they understand that that is a key to going into that whole God-like realm. Because if they don't hold on to their feet on the ground and being grounded within who they are, they will lose out and end up in some place that they really don't want to be. And oftentimes it happens that way, where they try to escape from those things of the spirit through, again, alcohol and drugs and things of that nature. But the ultimate gift of the Pisces is their spirituality. Pisces can easily channel spirit through their artistic expression. Now, we know we just came from Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about that whole innovative ideas. Now, that's all well and good for the Aquarius, but for the Pisces, they're more into that artistic expression. So we're talking music, art, poetry, all that artistic things that we're able to connect with spirit on. And so as they channel spirit through artistic expressions and journeys to other realms, but only when they learn to master being grounded. They can become adept meditators and spiritualists, showing others without words or concepts how to tap into their higher mind. Because again, for the Pisces, it's all about connecting spiritually. Like, they literally can connect to you just standing there, you know, and not really being in their auric field, but just being out, even outside of that, they're able to connect to you in that particular way. So they can also teach you without words how to be able to use the how to use your higher mindset. So this is what the Pisces bring to the world. This is their gift to the world. They can achieve psychic abilities when they are able to blur the boundaries between space and time. They can access singular consciousness that connects us all. So they're able to go to source and be able to connect to all of us through that source. Let's see here. And so during the journey, the Pisces must learn to keep their feet firmly planted on earth so as to remain grounded while dissolving boundaries between the material and the spiritual realms. And these are the people who can do it. Pisces are the people who can do it. And again, it has to come from learning how to be grounded. If the Pisces realizes that life is all a dream, because everything that we're living right now is actually a dream. And we are able to bring that understanding back. And if they understand that, you know, all of life is just a dream, they're able to bring that understanding back to earth. And all of us human beings, they can actually inspire us to embody this type of wisdom, which is unconditional love. So when we talk about transcending one realm to the other, that's a whole transcendence of love. There has to be some type of unconditional love in order to be able to transcend everything physical and spiritual. They must learn one of the most valuable keys to create harmony within their soul. That key is to develop a strong sense of worthiness. One thing that Pisces has to deal with, and we talked about this a little bit earlier as far as one of their struggles, is dealing with the fact of feeling unworthy. I know a Pisces who automatically thinks that they're ugly and they are the most beautiful person in the world. And they kind of say that to people before a person has the opportunity to say it to them. And they feel, and they probably wouldn't really agree to it or really say that this is true, but I can see it from standing outside of them, that there is a sense of unworthiness that's within them, and they are more than worthy. This is a sign, again, that holds all the energies, 12 energies, from the first Aries up until their own. That's a lot of power. And if you're looking on that particular edge of not assuming that power, not understanding what that power is, and thinking that you're unworthy, then that's a hard place to be in when you're the one that's supposed to bring us to a higher level of transcendence. So again, they must learn one of the most valuable keys is to create harmony within their soul. That key is to develop a strong sense of worthiness. They have to understand that they are okay. It's okay to be them, exactly how they are, regardless of outside validation, because they really don't need it. Once this key is locked in place, Pisces will understand that they have more power than they have ever been willing to admit. And by owning this power, they become more of who they are to join heaven and earth. So it's all about them learning who it is that they are and understanding the power that they present with, that they are able to join heaven and earth. The Pisces mind, when allowed to flow where it will, it may enter the realms of the mystical and transcendent. It seeks the union of the divine, and when it is tapped into universal energies, it can assess source information from beyond the norm. So think about this, being able to tap into, now we all have abilities, don't get me wrong, we all have abilities, but when the Pisces understands or they're seeking out that union between the divine and tap into that whole universal energy, they can access something that many of us cannot, and this is something that's beyond the normal, Scorpios, Cancers, that are also other psychic signs as well. But the Pisces can tap into something, again, it's all about transcendence for them, going from the whole physical thing into the spiritual thing. So in its enlightened state, it can achieve a mind meld with another person that allows them to know exactly how it feels to be in that person's shoes. This is why sometimes it's so hard for them to say no, because they're able to tap into that person's energy. They're that person's energy, the inside of that person, so they understand what it is to be that person, and they have that type of compassion for them that's beyond normal. That sometimes it seems like it's beyond normal, and I would say it is beyond normal, because when we think about, many of us don't have that compassion for people because sometimes we haven't really stood in their shoes, or maybe we have and it's been so long we've forgotten what it's like to stand in their shoes. But think about a person who has the ability to tap into that person right now and feel what that person is feeling. You can't help but have such a spiritual type of compassion for that person. For Pisces, emotions are the undercurrent for everything in life. It is everything. Most Pisces have no idea what they feel, as they can easily absorb other people's feelings and psychic impressions. So sometimes it's hard to feel, kind of feel where that person ends and where they begin, because they kind of meld into that person or the people within that room. During enlightened state, Pisces is the most intuitive and empathic sign of the zodiac. Now, just like all of us, we have karma that we have to live through. We also have shadows that, we have to deal with as well. Now, the Pisces shadow, the shadow side of Pisces is martyrdom. The shadow feels used and put upon. This happens because they don't know when to keep giving and when to stop doing everything for a person. Pisces, they are the most generous sign of the zodiac. And they will give. until they feel like they've been used, but they don't realize that at some point you have to learn how to not give so much. You know, you can give to a person, but when you see there's either not any reciprocity, or that that person doesn't feel the same way that you do, then you have to learn to cut that off. And most often, you know, they don't. And so they start dealing with this whole shadow of martyrdom, like, woe is me, you know, that type of thing. Karma. The karmic challenge for Pisces is to learn how to empathize without taking on someone else's pain or issues. And again, that's hard. Just think about it. If you have the ability to feel the world, now how do you, you know, in let's just be real, how do you, as a person who is able to feel everything, shut that off? Like, how do you do that? And so that's a challenge for them, to be able to learn to empathize with people, but not take on someone else's pain or issue. If you know some Pisces, and one of the Pisces that I know is really good at this, he will say, okay, so I've dealt with too many people, there's too much going on, I need to go away. And so he will go away, if it's for a day, if it's for 3 days, a week, a month, I don't care how long, whatever it is that he needs to do to get the other energies off of him, he will do it, because it is something to where, just think about, if you're feeling people's pains all the time, you don't know their pain from your own pain. And then sometimes when people are in suicidal states, or suicidal states of being, that ends up being your type of thing, and you end up being in a suicidal type of mind frame. So they have to be careful. Pisces, they really have to be careful about the energy that's around them. And if they don't know how to shut people off, shut people down, and not in a mean way, but, you know, in a sense of self-care, like, I got to take care of myself. I'm going to go home and I don't want to talk to anybody for the next month, because that's how bad it's been. Or for the next day, whatever it is. And again, this usually happens because Pisces takes on the role as savior, or the dual nature as victim. And now let's remember this. Now, as I'm talking to you guys about the signs, I want you to understand there is hardly any breath in between being a savior and a victim. And I'm going to say something that you guys, hopefully you'll understand what it is that I'm saying. Jesus walked between the thing of being, the characteristics of being savior and victim at a lot of times in his life. We knew him in the end to be the savior, but a lot of times he was like the victim. People were talking about him, picking at him, all these different things. But he had to know his own power within himself, so that he can walk the walk that he had to walk in order to be able to save humanity. Pisces is the same way. And if they are not really careful about, you know, which role that they're taking on, and understand that if I'm going to be the savior of myself or of my people, I can't walk in the state of victimhood as well. I got to choose. Either I'm going to be the victim, or I'm going to be the savior. And so now we're going to talk about the traditional correspondences for the Pisces. Now, crystals, it is bloodstone, aquamarine, beryl, blue lace agate, calcite, fluorite, labradorite, turquoise, and sunstone. The foods that are that correspond to the Pisces is figs, fruit, and vegetables with high water content. They're fish. They need things with water. Herbs, golden seal, myrrh, echinacea, eyebrow, mugwort, kava, Irish moss, and angelica. Now, with the Pisces, it also is very important for them to understand to not do the whole escapism thing. I can understand sometimes the dreams and the visions that you have can be overwhelming at times, but if you can learn to allow yourself to be comfortable in the state of what it is that you're doing, and we will talk about that in some of the videos that we'll talk about for the Pisces season. But if you can learn to become more grounded in who you are, and when those dreams or those visions come, if you allow yourself that particular space, at some point you will no longer be uncomfortable with what it is that you're seeing or feeling or hearing, for that matter. Now, the way that most of our Pisces deal with those things, because they don't want to see, feel, hear any of those things, is again, they end up doing drugs or alcohol. And sometimes, you know, when we think about doing those things to escape from the reality of what it is that you're visioning or dreaming, or that being in that whole illusory state of mind, you have to really get grounded. That is the only way of being able to combat it, is being able to get grounded. Escaping it will not help, not at all. So going into doing drugs and alcohol, it's only going to hurt you in the long run. This is, and I wouldn't want to say cross the bear, but this is your gift that has been given to you to at least help us in this world be able to transcend. And if you're not willing to transcend, then there's a lot of people that are in your midst that are going to miss out on that, or have to get that from some other being. So it is your one of your responsibilities. And I hate to say it in that way, because unless we really understand who we are, and that's what we're really responsible for in this earth. Like me being a Scorpio, it's my responsibility to be, you know, born, birth and rebirth and transformation. I can't talk now. But it's my responsibility to do that, not only for myself, but to show other people how to do that as well. So as with the Pisces, in order for them to transcend, and for us to also be able to transcend, and them being able to show us how, they're going to have to really kind of get into the mode of allowing themselves that whole spiritual nature, and not be afraid to walk in the spirit. Because of the fact that they've grown so accustomed to that whole human side of them, they have to begin to move onto the other side as well, so that you can create that balance and we can have heaven here on earth. If you guys like the video, love the video, make sure that you like it underneath. Make sure that you share it with your friends and your family. Now remember that even though your sun sign may not be Pisces, you do have Pisces in your chart, and you have to figure out where you have Pisces in your chart. And once you realize where you have Pisces in your chart, you can understand what area of life that you need to get more grounded in. What area of life that you have to bring heaven on earth to your own situation within that particular area of life. Now, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like this video. Be sure to share it with other people. If you have not subscribed, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I do monthly videos, or well, not monthly, but seasonal videos. And so right now we are on Pisces, and next month or next season we'll be going into the sign of Aries. So I love you guys. Peace out. Get your natal charts done. Become more self-aware, and let's go ahead and rock this world. Let's tilt the axis and put it on its feet. Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.